truth about the female gender. This is not to degrade or belittle or to downplay the female. This is for general knowledge of truth. If we go back to the beginnings of time, the first man and woman, the first husband and wife, Adam and Eve. The account of these two first human beings gives an example of what and how all the female descendants of Eve would be, and what they are down to this day. Let's take a look at what happened in the Garden of Eden. Eden was a perfect garden that provided everything Adam and Eve needed for a joyful, happy life, and they would live together forever and never die. It was a total paradise. They were to mate and produce offspring in this total paradise. What went wrong? Well, simply to put it, Eve the female became unsatisfied with what the paradise and life had to offer. She wanted more, even if it meant going against God to get it, even if it meant deceiving her husband to get it, even if it meant death for her and her husband and offspring to get it. She was never gonna be satisfied until she could touch the untouchable, until she could get a hold on what she couldn't have. In today's world, are women any different than how Eve was? No, not at all. All women in a sense have the same longing to touch the untouchable, to get more and more, even when you've received everything you could ever need. A very simple example is a husband out on a date to the movies with his wife. In the popcorn line, the husband has to leave to go to the restroom. Soon as he leaves, his wife's eyes start to wander. She notices a guy more pleasing to the eye than her husband. He walks by and his scent is better than her husband's. He walks up to her to introduce himself and shakes her hand, and his touch is warmer, more firm than her husband's. She notices his keychain and the car he drives is a newer, more fancier model than her husband's. His smile is more generous and calming. He tells a joke, and in all she realizes he has a better sense of humor than her husband. They exchange numbers, and now she is showing her true colors, her true side. She is showing the Eve DNA within her. She is a married woman who is desiring something that doesn't belong to her. She is a married woman who is enticed and is exchanging contact information with a stranger while her husband is in the restroom. But being who she is, a female born from Eve, she doesn't care who is watching. She doesn't care how her husband will feel if someone sees and tells him. She only cares that she gets what she is longing for, no matter the cost. Even telling the guy she met that she was with a boyfriend and she is not married, she is deceptive and deceiving. She wants to touch the untouchable, knowing it will cost, but forgetting she has everything she needs. To be continued. The 12th of December, the 17 update. It takes a strong woman to remain free from being a slave to men, not a husband or a man, but men, which slavery makes a woman defiled in many ways. For example, a woman is being raped. A strong woman fights and resists even if it costs her her life. A weak woman gives into the feeling, it gives into the fear of both. Only a weak woman would enjoy the feeling of someone taking advantage of her and using her body without her consent. To not fight does not mean to consent, but also it does not retain to the woman her self-respect, her dignity, her pureness, her freedom, freeness. These things can only be retained to a woman if she fights, for fighting is the displaying inward and outwardly, mentally and spiritually, that this taking of her freedom is not accepted and is not wanted, and will not happen for a woman who fights with all her might even until death, understands the art of dying and remaining free, the art of freedom and the art of death. As said by Malcolm X, the price of freedom is death. An example pertaining to the unnatural woman, not controlled by natural desire inherited from Eve, nor wrong desire nor wrong thinking, but controlled by her own will to be as one that is in a way considered as an outcast when compared to the weak woman, who have no self-control. For the purpose of deeper understanding, the weaker women can be compared to the female lioness who is instinctive by nature, natural, who allows her mate to die in battle with one invading the prized territory, and then allows the intruder, once killing her mate, to slaughter her children, and even afterwards allowing the intruder to mate with her. This is in opposition to the unnatural woman, for she dies in battle with her mate, for the sanctity of loyalty to be firmly established, and sanctity of the bloodline to be firmly established even with bloodshed.